Ask your analyst if he's willing to risk his job on it. No, exactly. I mean, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing. I mean, if we would never have a market if nobody disagreed. Excuse me if I, said anything otherwise. I've been wrong on lots of stocks in my life, no doubt about that. But binary events, that does happen to be a specialty for me. Yeah, I can tell the guy's not trolling. Again, we'll see who's right. I mean, there were plenty of people in here who, after the fact, said, "Hey, Martin, you were right about cassava." But I'll just give you this one thing real quick, because I think it is really important, and it is the biggest giveaway, is this whole inverse dose response thing. It just really doesn't happen in my experience. So I don't even think it happens 1% of the time. But if it did, think about the logic of that. You're hoping that this subgroup, the alternative hypothesis is that the drug doesn't work, which is my hypothesis. So hoping that actually it's like one of those drugs that works 1% of the time, it's safer to assume that it just doesn't work at all, especially when you look at the basic science of it. And if you look at where that old CEO landed, Plaid, who was CEO of this company, you know that he was bounced out and he's a quack. He started a new company for pectins and COVID. You can guess how well that's doing. It's not doing great. So it's very much not a surprise. Yeah, subgroups are almost always, I mean, if not always, just not useful. It's funny, I almost bought doxycycline. Man, Bitcoin might break that 100K. 1977 study. No data. 50 versus 100. Flat dose response there. Higher but not better. Of course, every drug reaches a saturation point. We know that. There comes a point in every drug's pharmacokinetic range that more drug does not help. I actually developed a blood pressure drug, but it wasn't a beta blocker. Let me see if GoDaddy, ChatGPT, unbiased question, beta blocker, multiple dose clinical trial. Yeah, I mean, if the CEO has said that that all the pectins can treat cancer, HIV, and COVID, and none of that has transpired, I think, management's a big part of biotech. IonQ down almost 20%. Beautiful. Come on, where's the Galectin news already? Jesus. How much longer are they going to make us wait? I want to short more, so I'm happy to wait. Yeah, I would try to get a list of inverse dose responses, or even subgroups that replicated. I would try to get a list of those two things, and the probability of an inverse dose response and the probability of a subgroup replicating. Between those two things, the conjoint probability is almost zero. And then a probability of an actual, sugar from apples being a good IV drug. The paper shows that it's not even a galectin inhibitor. Yeah, puts are always tricky because you have to get the time right. If you're going to do a certain month, I always recommend selling calls in an equal amount as buying puts. I have almost no puts. I'm mostly just short calls. Okay, here's a beta blocker. They did 1 mg, 5 mg, 10 mg, and 20 mg. The study found a typical dose-response relationship. Higher doses achieve greater reductions in blood pressure. Ball's in your court, man. It's not been proven in statins or benzos or pain drugs. Sorry, man. You need a reference for that. You threw out one and I just disproved it. Statins for sure have dose response. That I just know off the top of my head. But so do beta blockers. You have me gaslighting and doubting myself here. It just doesn't make sense from a pharmacological perspective. How could a competitive antagonist ever have an inverted dose response? I think we'll get the GALT result soon. I don't know if shares will be available or not, but it's like HUMA. I mean, the more HUMA delays putting the data out, the more people know, or not the data, the FDA decision, more and more people are like, all right, this thing's a clown show. Same thing with GALT. Well, Gupta is not intended to do clinical trial outcomes, or looking up clinical trial data. Everybody knows benzos have a positive dose response, and that's obviously why this guy's obviously trolling. High dose benzos actually are anesthetics. That's not even worth the discussion. I thought you had a couple 100,000 shares or something. Yeah, I thought you said more, but it doesn't matter. Very few people are taking a high conviction bet on this, I'll say that. Other than shorts. There are many shorts, as you may know. Many of us are very, very excited about GALT. Man, QMCO was out of business. His stock has gone up 20x. Yeah, I read the Aquaman stuff, it was great. Well, it depends on somebody's total P&L. If they made you $10 million and they lose $100,000, that's okay. They're allowed to do that. When do you see it go below 100K? I don't see that. Lowest it was $100,300.
Yo, there's Aquaman. Aquaman told us about Humor, what, $7, $8? Thank you, Aquaman. Everybody, thank you. Thank you, Aquaman. You're welcome.
Yeah, compounding is crazy, but GLPs are fine. Nothing wrong with GLP. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I got people to... I think shorting the quantum scams will make you money, but certainly not being long is a good thing too. I know some people here feel like they missed out on these stocks. Trust me, you do not want to try to play with fire, buy one of these stocks and get out. You could very easily become the bag holder. Yeah, I'm not just going to wait. If BTC goes to 99,000, less than 100K, I will hit the gas real quick. I'm not going to do that in perpetuity. This is 0 DTE. Me too. But they said, look, in all fairness, they said December. It is the 18th. It's not January yet. Some things, these guys will wait till January. They don't care what they said. It's a nervous habit. The use case for quantum is mostly encryption. Yeah, AVXL is a short, yeah. Corvus, I hope somebody got Corvus. It wasn't like a slam dunk short, but look, it went down 40%. Better than being long. Come on, orange peel. All the QMCO stockholders get a tape drive for free. Well, I made the Godel platform because I was banned off Bloomberg. It's a lot cheaper, and at some point we're going to be rolling out some pretty exciting AI features. I think there's a better community on it, but it's still young. Yeah, that's a good idea, Blinky. We're working with 𝗥𝗀𝗘𝗢𝗍. Bloomberg just really doesn't like me. Yeah, a bunch of people who did the Sava short have invested or tried to invest, which is cool. I got banned, so I came back from jail. I asked to get a Bloomberg account again, and they said no. Yeah, that's why we made it the same exact thing, Henry.
I would like to say that every time the Martin Shkreli has come into an AlphaCo space, there's been a new Donald Trump-esque coin coming out. So what is it? Just come out with it, Martin, please.
That is a discussion for another day. For now, we're here to talk about the imminent demise of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, including Farcoin. See, I don't know if you guys know this, but these tokens aren't really backed by anything. They're all fake money. I just figured this out the other day. I just sold everything and I shorted. I was like, how could I possibly be long this stuff?
So, following Nixon taking us off the gold standard, by us, I mean the U.S., taking us off the gold standard in 71, right? The U.S. dollar is no longer backed by gold, right? It's backed really by the U.S. military. So I look at crypto and I see it as backed by kilowatt hours, and ultimately just blind process.
But you can't redeem those kilowatt hours, right?
No, I mean there's not a system currently set up to do that.
There might be in the future.
That's an idea that I've had.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the argument that Bretton Woods is over, therefore this is just as stupid as fiat, is probably not a good argument because, two wrongs don't necessarily make a right. I mean, if somebody started chopping the right arm with the hatchet and I started doing it with the scissor, I'm not any less stupid or more stupid than the next guy. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just stupidity either way. You do want money backed with something real, ideally, but there's issues with that as well. But there's a lot of other things in crypto that are trying to back money with real assets, and those actually may be better than Bitcoin. But anyway, I just think it's been very frothy, and Bitcoin can drop to like say 95 or 90 or even 75 or something like that, and then maybe it's along then. But right now, between Farcoin, between quantum computing, between even something like DJT, Truth Social's valuation, all this stuff just shows that like the market's gone crazy. There's a company called Quantum Corp. Okay, the stock was at 3. It's at 62 right now. And it's just because their name is Quantum Corp. They actually don't even do quantum computing at all. So it's really funny the amount of frothiness. It's almost like people have too much money and maybe the Fed should raise rates. And the SBR thing, I was one of the first people to come up with this idea and pitch it to the administration. And I think now that everybody's talking about it, it's been consensus for months. The only thing that could happen is it could disappoint us. I mean, it's the fact that, Saylor's buying tons of Bitcoin. It's not helping the price of Bitcoin. It's not helping his stock price. That's not good either. So, I'm pretty bearish for now. And, of course, things can change easily and quickly. But, I certainly wouldn't be levered long at the top of Bitcoin here. I don't hold Bitcoin. I don't think there's anything to be bullish on right now. I mean, I think price is the most important thing when it comes to any asset, you know? So at the right price, at the right situation, I'd be bullish on lots of things. But right now, like Bitcoin isn't a good value at $100,000. Like everybody's long and everybody's going to take pain for the next however long it takes before people start getting disgusted with it. Like the euphoria, you know, has gotten to a fever pitch where even politicians are starting to get Bitcoin. And I think that's just, it's not going to last. MicroStrategy is even crazier, right? MicroStrategy is like, you know, once this correction comes, as it's happening before our eyes, you know, that then, you know, wash out some of the crap in the space and the crap in stock market, and then we can be bullish again. And maybe it'll be something like a Monad or some other like latest generation, you know, chain that is superior to Bitcoin. Like, so look at Solana. I mean, Solana was such a monster home run for early investors and early token buyers. Like, we could see that kind of dynamic again, where one day we will get a multi-$100 billion chain, and you know, the best technology should win. And I think that the Sol meme coin explosion is a really good example of, hey, this is a fast chain, it's easy to deploy. There's a lot of drawbacks to Solana, but people like it and it works. And I think that that's a huge thing to be bullish on. So I hope that someday we do get another chain that solves all these problems. And I don't know what it's going to look like or what it is. Maybe it's Aptos or Sui or a Sui, I don't know, or whatever the next generation stuff that's, I'm sure, Paradigm and A16Z are working on, or some other random person that's not going to get any VC funding is working on. But that's, I think, going to be like something real, something really tangible. Stuff like Farcoin is, you know, it's just an attention zero-sum game that's
in the wind.
Yeah, it'll be here today, gone tomorrow. There's no real way to short it. Is one of the problems. So I opened my old 𝗥𝗃 account. I go in there ready to go guns blazing, and it says $2,500 max short position, and I'm sitting there like, oh man. I even got a VPN ready. But once it's on something like Binance or whatever, even Binance will limit your short size. So like, this isn't a fair market. It's up because it's degen to degen markups. And at the end of the day, when like it's traded 24 hours, 130 million, there are 100 hedge funds in New York City that if I pitch them, if I can get you 50 million short Fartcoin, they would be so thrilled. They would sign up immediately because they can buy shares, $50 million worth of shares of $1 billion company that actually does something. Like, it's actually valuable. And if it's a $50 billion hedge fund, look, unless Farcoin's going to be worth $50 billion, they'll sit and wait, and eventually it'll go to zero, and they can hedge with, you know, other sort of things. So whatever factor of like Farcoin's insanity, they can mimic by, say, being long a Palantir or being long like some other like insanity. They can hedge out that factor and just get pure Farcoin alpha, which, you know, again, maybe the people behind Farcoin will like do really well. Somebody should do some diligence on this. I don't know who's behind it or who has a lot of the supply, but it doesn't feel to me like this is just sort of today's MOG or tomorrow's, you know. I mean, everyone here has seen these come and go, right? It's got today's attention, but will it persist and, you know, be the, I mean, where are all these things going to go? In a recession, I think people will sell their WIF. People will sell their, you know, all of their tokens that are just sort of not exciting. Like, I was short WIF for a while. WIF has been down quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, and it's certainly down from its all-time high. So, you know, it's every time something like Farcoin's exciting, well, something like WIF gets, money goes from something like WIF to Farcoin, and WIF goes down. So WIF is down, you know, a ton over the last, you know, I guess a month or so. You know, WIF was 350, now it's 230. That's a huge loss, and obviously some of that money went to Farcoin. And, you know, can this sustain itself? Well, in a recession where you need to pay for medical bills, you need to pay for your rent, you might look at your dog with hat and say, you know what, maybe I don't need this. Maybe I need cash to pay my rent. And people will swap. And if Bitcoin drops to 40,000, you might say, you know what, I really want to buy Bitcoin, but I'm stuck with, you know, meme coins that are down 90%. You know, I think today's market, stock market and crypto, both show you that, like, there are times when assets just go down in price for like months or even years. There were 3 years where 2000, 2001, 2002, and most of 2003, where stock prices just went down every single day. And it was just a bear market every day, and it just made people miserable and they quit. So Bitcoin's been great, crypto's been great, and the good times have to come to an end at some point. I hate, people can hate me for saying that, but I just, think, at least have that in the back of your mind. Even if you're super bulled up, at least think about it. When the consensus is overly bullish, that's a great time to be bearish, because there's nothing good that can happen that surprises anyone on the upside. Everyone's long, because they think Trump's going to do an SBR and Trump's going to be friendly to crypto. Now that he's elected, I don't know how many promises he's going to break. This is his last election. And I don't know how tight this Doge and government...
Do you think he goes for a third term?
No, I don't think he goes for a third term, and I don't think he's talking too much about it, and I think that once Congress... Yeah, I don't know if the reserve will work or not, but I do think Congress has to actually show that it's willing to do what he says, which, the idea that all these politicians in DC are going to hold hands and do stuff is a little bit... I wasn't born yesterday. Every politician that's promised me something over the years has lied about it, and maybe this will be the one time. I think what you can expect from DC is that they're not going to go after, like the SEC did, after NFTs. They're not going to call these things securities. They're not going to police it, and that's bullish enough, right? Like, that's good enough. I don't think they're going to roll out the red carpet for crypto. And then I also think that paradoxically, crypto was made in the fire of 2008. When we needed like a new form of money. There's quite possible that the entire monetary system was going to collapse. So we came out with Bitcoin, and today, if Doge and the government rights itself, you could argue that that's a less marginal incentive for crypto, that I'm less interested in crypto when there's less inflation, when there's a better government, when there's a better balance sheet on the government in terms of deficit spending and things like that, and there's less regulation. Well, I need crypto when the government inflation is out of control, when the spending's out of control, when there's nobody smart in the office. That's when I need crypto. I need crypto when they're spying on me and they're putting people in jail for no reason. That's when Bitcoin comes in handy. If everything's going to go back to normal, what's the propensity, my marginal propensity for Bitcoin kind of drops, and all other cryptos for that matter. And maybe I just want regular money now if I'm not going to be bullied about it and it's going to be relatively stable and not too inflationary. That's just marginally less interesting to be in Bitcoin. I don't get the pitch nearly as heavy as I do, other than Saylor trying to force it on everyone's hands and kind of looking like a weirdo, if you ask me. It just doesn't, like, listening to him talk about Bitcoin just doesn't sort of add up. And I think that it's almost like this desperation blow off top. And he did exactly this in 2000. History is a funny thing. In the peak of 2000, he was like the hottest .com that crashed to get down to earth. It'd be sad if it happened again, but he's borrowed money with debt to the point where if Bitcoin drops, he's tempting fate that he gets margin called and liquidated. And everyone here in this room, I'm sure, has been liquidated once or twice on Binance or KuCoin or something like that. And this guy is basically daring the market to liquidate him. And every time you do that, you tend to eventually get liquidated. And so I feel like that's a really scary, dumb thing. And markets can go down for 10, 20, 30 years. People thought the stock market would never go down. Stock market would be down for 18 years in a row. It was flat for 18 years in the 80s. Never went up until 18 years of digestion happened. That's enough of a lifetime for you to quit crypto. A lot of people quit crypto after one bad experience. Tell me you're going to be long Bitcoin for 18 years and just holding it. I'm a true believer. It's easy to be a true believer when Bitcoin goes from 30K to 100K. It'll make anyone a true believer. Will you be a true believer if it goes from 100K to 30K? That's going to be a lot harder. It's all baked in the price now. Everybody knows about it. So the only thing that could happen is if politicians are actually not telling the truth, which would apparently shock everyone, that crypto would sell off if that happened. Well, I'm betting that politicians aren't telling the truth, one. And then I'm betting that, all the sentiment's gone. I can't sit here and tell you that what's going to happen to any asset price 10 years from now. Like, especially if that is such a weird asset like Bitcoin, where it's not based on cash flow, it's just sort of this like money flow and sentiment thing. Like, tomorrow, there could be something that blows your mind and my mind 100x the way Satoshi blew people's minds. And we don't even know what it is, and it could come out, and then I could say, wow, this kills Bitcoin. That hasn't happened yet. It may never happen, but it could happen literally today, and I'd have to change my mind. So that's why predictions are really hard to make. I'm willing to short $10, $20 million of Bitcoin right now, and then cover went 95K or 90K and then, make some money and move on. And just keep reassessing the situation, being flat on my feet and not, over leveraged and pig-headed and, Bitcoin's going to go to 1 million no matter what. Like that's kind of, around the Bitcoin 2024 conference, we were sort of planning this with Trump, and we were praying that Trump would give a speech and come to the conference in the first place. He did. And then we were also hoping that he'd come out and say, hey, we were hoping Elon would come too, by the way. And we were also hoping that Trump would come out and say, I pledge that upon election, I will force the US government to buy $10 billion of Bitcoin or $100 billion of Bitcoin or whatever it was. He didn't say that. And I was there. I was planning it. I was helping plan this whole thing. And it didn't work out. He didn't say that. Cynthia Lewis said it, but Cynthia Lewis isn't Trump. And, when Trump goes in front of Congress and does it, look, Trump's done a lot of things over the years where he says X and then, 2 years pass and he say, it's not the time. It's not the perfect time. I need to use my political capital on something else. And just don't be surprised. You might hear that. And, what happened to my SBR? The political capital had to be used to fix taxes, and I just don't have the political capital to push forward the Bitcoin SBR. Good luck next cycle. And you're sitting there like, I donated $1 million to this guy for no reason. And if you've been around politics, that's how it goes. They lie to you. You walk out of the room thinking you're the smart guy. The politician walks out of the room knowing that he just fleeced you. So hundreds of millions of dollars get donated to these guys. They don't do anything. So I feel like, we're being played for fools if we think the catalyst is the government's going to buy our bags from us at double this price. Like, that's crazy talk. No, it's not that. It's that we've gotten a huge price increase in Bitcoin for a long time, and it's a gigantic asset to the point where even Saylor can't move it. So, it feels toppy to me. All this good news, SBR, Saylor buying billions. We're not breaking out. Everyone kind of thought once we would break through 100, that 125 would be the next stop. Right? 150 would be the next stop right away. Bitcoin kind of feels heavy to me as a trader. Like, it's just like,
No, but it just broke over 100 though, so maybe in 3 months we could reassess. I don't know.
Sounds like hope to me.
And yeah, like Raspberry said, bro, we were literally at 60K pre-election, and now we ran up to 100K. We're seeing new highs a couple every week, which is insane. I don't know. Back in the bear when I was buying at 24K, I wasn't expecting 100K numbers within a year and a half. Bro, I don't know, it's outperformed literally everything in the world. Any asset. I mean, not.
The only thing that matters is what does it do from here?
Yeah, that's true. What's good though, Raz? You've had your hand up. Good to have you, fam.
Shkreli, bro, you're kind of my go, bro. But I have a really important question as the resident, person on stage from the Los Angeles, collective. I just need to ask if you've seen anything about the AI agent movement within crypto, AI16Z agent frameworks, GoatCoin, 𝗟, if you have any thoughts on that as a high-level genius such as yourself.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's all pretty cringe, and just another way for people to speculate. If you look at quantum computing, there's these stocks there's this one company, 𝗕𝗢𝗄𝗏, which was literally getting ready to file for bankruptcy, and their stock's up 20x. I mentioned the quantum hard drive, the tape drive company, that has nothing to do with quantum computing. They just have a name that they thought was cool, sounds futuristic. They actually made this name in the 80s. They decided to call their company Quantum Corp, and they've never done a single thing in quantum computing, but the stock went up 50x, or roughly 20x, because of just the association with Google made an announcement about quantum computing. Even Google's announcement was, but it made the whole sector go crazy. And we're seeing this over and over again. There's a company called SoundHound that did an acquisition that made their numbers go up, and SoundHound stock has gone up 5x. DJT stock.
It's a fire name, by the way.
Yeah, it's a fine product, but it's 5-6x overvalued. DJT, Truth Social stock has been really great. Huge market cap. They're supposed to be pivoting to crypto any day now. There's all this out there that's just overvalued. And if you can come out with A16Z coin or AI16Z and also come out with Farcoin, the ultimate collective market cap at some point will implode on itself, because the cost to create one costs nothing. The cost to get your attention costs something, but your attention is limited, right? You can only own you have $50,000 of coins. Well, I sold my dog with hat. Dog with hat is down 32% this month. That's a dog, literally. And instead you could be long AI16Z, or you could be long, maybe Fartcoin. But the people that own dog with hat are literally bag holders, especially the people that bought it over the last month. Over the last month, it's traded billions of dollars, and everyone that's bought it over the last month is a huge bag holder today. And so you are just moving the bag holder to the eventual Fartcoin bag holder. There will be Fartcoin bag holders in the next however long it takes, but eventually, just like dog with hat, it'll be down a bunch. And just like other meme coins we can't even remember, they'll be down as much when the attention fades. And attention is a fleeting thing. It's hard to keep getting attention. I mean, I just feel like there are AI companies. I have this list on my GitHub of 1,400 AI companies. They're almost all shorts that are going bankrupt. So, OpenAI is doing great. But if you talk to people putting money to work in AI, there's new codes coming out every day. But look at the companies that even Midjourney is sucking wind right now. Like most of the companies that get started in AI in the last 5 years are going bankrupt, and it's just not a fantastic space. Crypto doesn't make any sense to combine with AI. It's just not a rational thing. There's no overlap between the two. I know people are trying to force that narrative, but it really is just oil and water. Maybe you can get an agent to do tweet. That gets boring pretty quickly, and anybody can do it. It takes a very, very humble programmer to sit there and put out code that can do this. And every time somebody tries to force fit this narrative, it really doesn't end up with any users. We know that from the IONET expose I did and other I think obvious crypto AI failures. Once there's an OpenAI type app that's crypto native, that then wake me up. But for now, I think that this stuff is speculators just to speculate and to hope and pray that somebody lifts them out of their position at a higher price. And there's no actual fundamental reason why AI and crypto make any sense together. I mean, decentralized trading is one thing that people are hoping and praying to do, but that's not as exciting as maybe the meme and the perception of making noise about AI. But eventually noise must give way to progress, and we don't see that. People at OpenAI or Anthropic or Google or Meta, they don't care about crypto. Any serious AI person, if you ask them, what's the intersection with crypto? They're going to look at you funny, did you misspeak? What do you mean, what's the intersection with crypto?